Hi guys, welcome to Dee's Media World. As promised, I'm continuing to review Stephen Bomb 3. So today I'll be talking about episode 2 in the lineup called Keystone Motel. In this episode, we got a lot of fan service, I would say. Not a bad thing at all. Just a lot of characters we haven't seen in such a long time. But I will get to that in a moment. In the beginning of this episode, we see Garnet and Pearl, or the phrase that Pearl trying to talk to Garnet, and Garnet straight up ignores her. I mean, I haven't seen it ignore like that since I was like a kid or something. Like, that reminded me of childhood when you were mad at your sister or your sibling or something and you didn't want to talk to them, so you just pretended like they weren't there. That's exactly what that reminded me of. And in fact, Garnet is so not for Pearl that when Greg comes in saying to go, let's go on a road trip uh, with me, Steven, that Garnet just goes. And it's like, even though it's kind of out of her character to go along with something like that, but I guess she's so annoyed with Pearl that she has to get outside the house. Later on, when they get to the motel, and there's some cute little jokes from Greg and Steven about, or from Greg, what a motel is like and how they get free ice. And that was cute. Because I guess that was supposed to show, like, kind of the difference between a motel and a hotel to kids who are watching the show. And once they get there, Greg leaves to go buy that thing he had to go buy. Um, Garnet unfuses, and we learned that Ruby and Sapphire are so pissed off at one another, or really Ruby is so pissed off at Sapphire, that she can no longer be fused with her. Like, this really bothered them so much that Garnet kind of had to disappear and these two unfused, not even wanting to really make up, especially Ruby, who, even though we've seen her as kind of a abrasive character in the jailbreak episode, we learned that she really has a temper like I've never seen before. I was like, she is super pissed, like beyond pissed off. She's pissed off at Pearl for betraying her, but she's also mad at Sapphire for wanting to forgive Pearl so soon. And so this episode kind of has to do with forgiveness and also has to do with uh, moving on and realizing that it's not just about you. That Steven's kind of the heart of this family. So him seeing his guardians like being this angry at each other and things like that affects him too, and he's a child, so he doesn't truly know what's going on. So, and it kind of helps them grow as well. We learned some things about Sapphire and Ruby. Sapphire can fly, and she also has ice powers. Now, and thirdly, she's a Cyclops basically. She has one eye, which some people I think have hypothesized because Garnet only has three eyes, and I never really thought about why Garnet only has three eyes, but that makes sense. The ice thing surprised me because Ruby also has fire, and they're exact opposites physically. But Garnet doesn't have either of those powers. She doesn't have fire, nor does she have ice. Or if she does, which I doubt, we have never seen her use them. She just has those gauntlet things on her hands. I thought that was actually kind of strange. Like, why wouldn't she have those powers? Is that something she has and doesn't know how to use? That's hard to believe. I just thought that was odd, but I thought that was interesting. And we see how Ruby has a like super like temper. She was almost one note actually at one point. I mean, I'm glad when Ruby and Sapphire make up that we see a little bit more to her personality. But especially since Ruby is my gemstone, my birthday stone, my birthstone, and this is my birthday week, guys, as I mentioned before. But it kind of was a little disappointing to see that Ruby has such a bad temper that she couldn't see any kind of reason until after they pissed Steven off or made Steven upset, and I feel so bad for him. And I like how collected Sapphire is, and how because of her future vision, she sees past kind of what's going on in the present and can see the future and can move on from it. Like, I know we're gonna forgive Pearl, so I'm not too worried about how I feel now, even though she's upset too. And that's kind of how they make up. They make up because Sapphire sort of tells Ruby again that, yeah, I'm mad at Pearl, but I'm not gonna be mad forever, and neither should you. So it was really cute to see them make up, and when I meant by fan service earlier, it's just that, like, seeing the characters kiss and things like that, because the show is very blunt. I think I mentioned this in my other review, that the show is very blunt with its themes, and the relationship that Ruby and Sapphire have is not up for interpretation. It's clear, it's very clear that they're a couple, and I think that's awesome. Um, I felt bad for Steven in this episode because he's a kid who really can keep it together when he has to, but we're always reminded that he's a child at the same time. Like, when he first meets Ruby and Sapphire, he kind of is like, well, let me try and diffuse the situation to help out, but they don't really want to hear what I have to say. And he kind of deals with it pretty well. Even though he does admit later that everyone's acting awful. And I agree. Like, what Pearl did was kind of ridiculous, but when thinking back on Pearl, I could actually understand, after like some thought, why Pearl is the way she is. And while what she did was selfish and unnecessary, it was really sad and kind of pathetic too. Like, I kind of wish they discussed that in this episode, that Sapphire had at least told Ruby, because Ruby probably would never see that the reason that Pearl is the way she is because she always needs this constant validation from somebody. She always probably got it from Rose in some way or the other, and she wants it from us. That's why she did what she did. And I know that some fans see that too, because I love Pearl. I love all the characters. So I could see it from Pearl's desperation why she would do that. And Amethyst, who is different from Pearl in a lot of ways, even defended Pearl on this note. Like, she could understand why Pearl did what she did. It was wrong, but she understood why she did it. And I kind of wish that Ruby and Sapphire realized that by the end of the episode. But I did like the episode. I really enjoyed seeing these characters again. I loved how understanding Greg was. Actually, shockingly understanding, because when he found out that Ruby and Sapphire are unfused, he didn't seem surprised at all. So I guess he's seen them unfused before, and I wonder if there's going to be an episode on that or something along those lines. I thought that was adorable. I like the ending. It reminded me actually of last night's ending because it's interesting because last night it ended with Garnet being like pissed at Pearl, and then this episode ends with Garnet being kind of, I guess, what's the word, neutral-ish kind of to Pearl. Like, she's still mad, but she's gonna forgive her eventually, but she's still kind of mad about it though. She don't want to talk about it right now. And she says, like, not now, Pearl. And Pearl's actually glad that she's at least talking to her. So I am curious how much time has passed between each episode. I would guess maybe a week or something like that. I don't know. I doubt it's been like a day. It's probably been like a couple days, I feel like. So, any case, I thought this episode was really good. I really enjoyed it. I can tell, like, the show just keeps getting better and better, almost to the point where you can't really go back because you know too much now. Like after seeing Sardonyx again, it's kind of like, man, I just can't wait to see her again. I don't need to go back and rewatch some of the other episodes. I can't wait to see what happens next. And there wasn't much Amethyst in this episode. Was she even in? Was she at like the end of the episode? And did she have any lines? I don't remember her saying anything. But in any case, I've rambled on long enough. This was a really good episode. It was great to see the two little gems again. They're really cute together. It was interesting to see kind of more of Garnet's, I guess you could say Garnet's personality, sort of her two gems personalities, and how she can't always keep it together. She's not always collected. And maybe she does hold a grudge against others, but she will slowly come around to forgiving him. I assume that she will forgive Pearl probably by Friday's episode. I'm thinking maybe a little sooner than that. But it just depends if they focus on it or not. I know there's like an Onion episode this week, so maybe not. Maybe it will just wait till Friday for them to make up. But anyway, that's it for today, guys. I'll see you later.